was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them.
Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
Welcome into it. Hope everything's going well as we are into the Entertainment Roundtable as we kick off the weekend here. 5 a.m. bright and early. Hope everything is going well. Or maybe you're listening at 7 p.m. Or maybe you're listening at noon on Sunday, because this weekend you'll actually be able to hear it 1 hour before we get into the race from Phoenix and Motor Racing Network. So we're actually going to get 3 airings this weekend. Hope everything is going well, and it is the full house. We've got Ryan on the phone. Hey, well, Ryan, how's things in Maryland?
Things are going very well, Steve, Captain America West. How are you?
I cannot complain at all. Also on the phone, Jacob, how are you, sir?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
Can't complain. You've got a couple of reviews that you want to get in, so you won't be with us for the entire show, but we'll have you long enough for the reviews.
Yeah. I saw one movie that I can't not review.
I know which one he's talking about. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm great. And I'm going to continue the tradition by saying, how are y'all?
How are y'all? Like it.
Traditions? No,
oh, yeah.
Those two guys asked how everybody was.
So far, everyone's asked how everybody is.
I did that before we got
Of course, that's
here.
my job. It's my job as a host to ask how everyone is. You actually have a movie to review this time.
Do I?
We've all seen it, but you finally got the chance to go with your nephews to go see one particular animated film.
Yes.
I'll be looking forward to seeing what you thought of it. We've heard everybody else except for Josh.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm so ashamed.
I got to say, I was surprised at their reaction to heavy metal.
Oh. I got to watch that film again. It's been a long time. Josh,
how's it going?
Greetings.
I'm excited to be back here. There's an energy to the Entertainment Roundtable.
Absolutely. David over there, welcome back in.
Josh's energy is draining me.
He's sucking it all out of David. Like it. Let's see. You've got a couple of movies to review. Jacob and I, we all went to go see the same two films over the past weekend. So I know. Have you seen anything in the past week or so?
No, I'm trying to catch up on my own show, on my shows and whatnot.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I saw, what was the show that was on ABC a couple of nights ago? Mind Games. I might actually talk about that during the.
Did anybody ever talk about House of Cards on the show, or do you guys not go online?
I've never actually watched an episode of House
Golly,
of Cards.
when it came out, it was 2 weeks ago. It was Valentine's Day. It came out.
Yeah.
I literally spent like that whole week, like every night till like 3 a.m. watching it. I completed the entire season.
He's
in
obsessed.
In 1 week. Oh, it's beyond obsession.
All right, we'll get
it's
your
like
opinion
as
of it
obsessed
later.
as he was with Breaking Bad, Jeff. It's better than Breaking Bad, though.
Yeah, you know you're full of baloney.
Well, that's a tall order from what I've heard. I've never seen any of it. So.
I haven't either.
It's the same kind of anti-hero show, so it's pretty cool.
Well, first things first, you can still get a hold of us in many different ways. Whatever with Steve West on Facebook, facebook.com/whatever with Steve West, or on Twitter at 101 Roundtable. Those two are interlinked, interconnected, so feel free to be involved with us at any point in time. We're also going to be talking about Harold Ramis a little bit later on and kind of remembering him. We did that earlier this week, during the week on several different shows, remembering his life when he passed away on Monday, but we'll do that because he had a very, let's face it, he has a very big footprint in the world of comedy and movies. So
is that a fat joke?
Yes.
Okay.
And you should be offended. Up first, top 10 movies of the past week. Stop me if you have seen any of these. Winter's Tale in at number 10, 2.1 million, 11.3. This was the film, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, that was getting somewhere in the mid-teens on Rotten Tomatoes as far as approval?
I believe so, yeah.
Had two friends that saw it, said it was terrible. Said Will Smith comes in and is the villain.
Really?
I didn't even know he was in the film. He's not even in the trailer.
Wow.
Will Smith is the villain in real life, though.
He plays the devil.
I'm sorry, Jacob, go ahead.
I mean, when you watch a trailer for a movie and you have no idea what the movie is even remotely supposed to be about, that's not good.
You've gotten off on the wrong foot. Definitely.
Well, sometimes that's just a bad marketing team.
Maybe true, too.
That's true.
Up to number 9, the remake of Endless Love, 3.9 million, 19.8. That's about gone. a film that just keeps chugging along. Frozen in at number 8, $4.4 million over the past weekend. This thing has made $384.1 million. This is the number one monetarily Disney film of all time.
What's funny is Josh just came back and realized that this show was like a soap opera. Like the storyline hasn't changed since he left. He's been gone for weeks, and he came back and they're still in the same.
Man.
They're still in the same scene.
Keeps turning up like a bad penny.
I mean, like, when did that thing release?
1976.
A couple of weeks before Christmas.
Golly, man, what a run!
Up to number 7, Ride Along, 4.6 million, 123.1. Again, the only person I know of who has seen it was AJ. He said it was actually very funny. And there's the second one coming out. So apparently there's something to it. Up to number 6, About Last Night, 7.5 million, 38.3. This one's actually, while it's a remake of an 80s film, a lot of people say they actually did a nice remake of it. Kind of changed up the story a little bit and had a good time with it. To number 5, Monuments Men, should have been better than it was, 7.9 million, so 57.9. Then we get to the 2 films that we have had the chance. I take that back. RoboCop's there. I totally overlooked it.
Like all audiences around America.
Exactly. In at number 4, 9.8 million, 44 million, so not horrible, but I don't know whether it's going to warrant a sequel. And then we get to these 2 films that a lot of us have had the chance to see, 3 of us specifically. We'll start off in at number 3, Pompeii. Debuts to $10.3 million. Ryan, I'm going to come to you on this because I want to know if you know this. Rotten Tomatoes, what are they rating this? Do you know offhand?
I believe it was in the low or mid-teens, and as far as money is concerned, it made about how much they thought it was going to be. So $10 million is a good
so it's
take
on
for them
target.
anyway.
There's that warm feeling I get again.
Yeah, well, yeah, I bet.
It's sitting at a big fat 25 percentile.
Woo! 25.
Oh, you looked it up? Yeah.
All right, so let's see if it's worth the 25% rating, and we'll start with Jacob.
So we're starting with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is possibly, and it would not shock me if this ends up being the worst movie I've seen all year. It's so terrible. It's even hard to describe.
He's at a loss
terrible
for
the
words,
movie
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of great British actors with horrible dialogue that makes no sense. You have a plot that you spend a lot of time working to set up, and then in the end, it doesn't even matter. You have Kiefer Sutherland in there with a bunch of British actors trying to do some kind of accent that I could not figure out that makes no sense. And I mean, and that's another. It's just a pet peeve of mine with all historical movies is why, if we ever have ancient history in a movie, why do we all have to have British accents? That makes no sense for, the Roman Empire.
But it does make for a really good Jaguar ad.
Mm-hmm.
It does. But I mean, not so much for an ancient history movie. No. Like I say, the dialogue is just terrible. I remember near the end, it's one of the few movies I've ever sat through and went near the end and just thinking, why isn't this over yet?
So ultimately...
Go Team Vesuvius! Go Team Vesuvius!
Yeah, really. We were rooting for the volcano.
I'm giving it a very generous 2 out of 10.
Oh, wow. That might be the lowest I've ever heard you say.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was so bad.
So 2 out of 10 for Jacob. Josh, you were in the same showing that we were.
I'm surprised no one gave any disaster jokes, like it was a disaster or it was a wreck. I don't know. I was trying to think of something.
Given mine
I was thinking about any kind of joke that goes with a mountain exploding, but I thought of nothing besides disaster. But it was a disaster. It just was it was laughably bad. You're just in it and you're like, no. The only redeeming part is I'm a huge Lost fan, and they had Mr. Echo in there from Lost, and he was a character, and the whole time I'm just like, Mr. Echo.
Yeah.
Besides that,
where's your Jesus stick?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the black cloud, here it comes. But no, it was just terrible. It felt like it was trying to be The Gladiator meets Titanic, and it was just such a bad ripoff. There was so many different parts where they kept ripping it off, and I'm like, no, but they did such a poor job. They did such a bad job.
Here's going to be the fun part.
I was so excited when they all died.
Here's going to be the fun part. Josh is notoriously the harshest critic when it comes to his ratings of all of us. If Jacob gave this a 2 and you are ripping this thing apart
Yeah.
like a Tyrannosaurus Rex after anything that it wants to eat, I'm looking forward to the ultimate rating out of 10.
It was just so terrible. Can we give negative numbers?
Just don't dignify
Feel
it with a
free.
rating.
I'm going to give it
I
a
was
negative
expecting
5.
a negative number.
Negative 5. It was just so bad. It almost seemed like an Asylum film. Like it was that bad. Like Asylum did Sharknado.
It's so bad that it's almost worth going to see.
It is.
To see how bad it is.
Yeah, it was just so great.
All right. And now it comes to me. The best thing that I can say about the film is that visually, it's good looking.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. And that's about it. Paul W.S. Anderson is doing this one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
From the moment we get to Pompeii, he is obsessed with the mountain. Okay, do me a favor. Do an establishment shot where we see where the volcano is in comparison to the town. And then, you know what, the next time we need to see the mountain is when it's getting ready to erupt. I don't need you to look at it every 5 seconds.
He's building suspense, Steve.
No, he was building up nothing.
If the Titanic kept focusing on icebergs the whole time,
Yeah.
and the freezing water, it would not be.
You know what? If they had done that,
yeah,
if they had done that in Titanic, I may have liked Titanic.
You guys,
where it was
really.
just like you
That's
just
a
keep
whole
shooting
nother
the
conversation.
iceberg. Dun-dun-dun.
Jacob mentioned Kiefer Sutherland. I will say this from the get-go. I am a humongous fan of 24, and I really like Kiefer Sutherland as an actor. Except in this film.
He was terrible.
He is supposed to be some British dude, and as soon as he started talking, I'm like, okay, maybe his accent will get better. And then he kept talking, and it didn't. And immediately what went through my mind is Carrie Elwes in the Mel Brooks film, Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Yeah. Yes.
And I mentioned this to you in the background. I said, what is it that Carrie Elwes says in Robin Hood, Men in Tights about what makes him a better Robin Hood than anybody else?
He has a British accent.
I can speak with a British accent. Kiefer Sutherland, I don't know what the heck that accent was. It was not British.
It wasn't British, and I mean, it was like
bad.
He was trying to be British bad guy, and it was just weird.
It was horrible.
It was Kiefer Sutherland getting a paycheck.
That's exactly what it
This
was.
is the most. This sounds like it's the most obvious example of, and most recent example of. I wish I was as good as my dad.
Oh wow.
The thing is he can be as good as his dad. He has shown the ability to be as good an
24 was
actor as
awesome.
his father. But in this role, it does not show up.
I think the best description of the accent, it's like a cross between a British accent and like the voice of like the character from the villain from the cartoons who ties up girls and puts them on railroad tracks. The cross between that. Imagine
Nice.
that, and you've got his accent.
Yeah, that's not bad. By the end of the film, yeah, I would agree. By the time we get to the point where the volcano erupts, you're like, yay, it's almost over. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Because this was just so bad.
I told Jacob last night I felt that way about the trailer for the movie.
Yeah,
so.
the only redeeming factor about this
imagine.
is the fact that the visuals of it, again, if you just look at the landscape, the way that they built it up and the way that everything looks, it's a beautiful film. That's what gives it a 2.
This is gonna give stuff away, but I'm literally sitting there and they're like having their monologue where the guy's monologuing over the guy after he handcuffed him, and I'm like, if you would have left 10 minutes earlier, you probably would have been alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It was so
but
bad.
because you sat there taking out your revenge, you
So
end
yeah,
up dead.
2. I agree. 2. And think about this. I can be kind of a harsh critic from time to time, but the worst rated film that I had for last year was Elysium, which I gave a 3.
Right.
That was my worst film of 2013. I would watch Elysium again before I would go anywhere near Pompeii.
I would watch Elysium 100 times in a row before I'd go back to see Pompeii.
I don't know about that.
Historically bad on a couple of levels, pardon the pun.
I've already watched Elysium 3 times since I bought it on Blu-ray.
I would much rather watch that again than Pompeii. I could
Because
not
I
do it.
like it.
Yeah, you're the one. You're the one. Let's move up to number 2 here, debuting to $12.2 million. It is the Kevin Costner film 3 Days to Kill. What do we know as far as ratings on Rotten Tomatoes? Jeff got it up over there.
Why, 32%.
32%. All right. Jacob, do you agree? 32%?
I think that's about right. I mean, it does a good job of mixing a few genres of movies. and it actually works. You know, kind of a spy slash dad reconnecting with his, you know, long lost children comedy kind of movie. It actually does that pretty well. It's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. The plot is a little far fetched, but it's okay. You know, I don't have as much to say about this as I did Pompeii.
Gotcha.
I mean,
After the
for
Rip
me,
Fest.
it's like a 6.
Okay.
You know,
So 6 out of 10.
Bad. It's not bad. It's not good. You know, it's an okay movie.
All right. So 6 out of 10 from Jacob. Josh?
My judgment was impaired because we watched Pompeii, and I'm pretty sure we could have watched Blue's Clues and thought it was a good movie after that because it was right after. So it felt like a movie that's been done 100 times. It felt like the one Die Hard film with Bruce Willis and his daughter a lot.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner, I like Kevin Costner like I like a Bruce Willis character. Like he's just an all-around man's man. I like the jokes about like American football versus, you know, European football.
Yeah.
I love that like all-American guy cowboy thing. It's been done up a trillion times.
Yeah.
This movie. And it's overly cheesed. It's overly high. But you know what? If after watching Pompeii, it felt really good.
In this movie, was Costner a coward like he was in Man of Steel?
No.
No.
Not at all.
He was. I actually liked it. So I was like, you know what? I like Kevin Costner. I like the movie. It was worth the price, which was free. But,
Yeah, well,
you know,
beside the point.
If I was paying for it, I would have liked to pay it for it, and I would have enjoyed it. And it's just a fun kind of American action flick. So
Okay.
I give it a 2 out of 10.
All right. Again, keeping in mind he's the harshest critic on the panel. And that brings it around to me, and then we're going to take a break, and we'll get Jeff's idea of the number 1 film of the week. Again, I agree with you wholeheartedly in the fact that we had just gotten out of Pompeii. So this, in comparison to Pompeii, was a cinematic masterpiece for all time.
It deserves an Oscar compared to Pompeii.
But when you get right down to the criticisms of it, you are correct. This is a movie that has been done many, many times. There's really nothing original here in this film. The plot is taken from several different films of a couple of different genres. What really gets you through is 2 things. Number 1, there is a comedic element to it that is kind of surprising when you think about the kind of film this is. This is, you know, originally the first thing that I thought was Taken.
Yeah.
When I saw the previews for this. This has much more of a comedic element than Taken does, and that comes across as a little bit of surprise, and it's a nice surprise. And number 2, Kevin Costner just comes in, plays the character with a little bit of a charm and a little bit of a wink of the eye that says, you know what, I'm not taking this seriously, and neither should you. This is just going to be a fun 90 minutes to 2 hours, and that's exactly what it is. It's not great. It's good, and it's certainly better than some other films that I've seen that have tried to become the next Taken. I'm going to give this a 6.5. Because this I was actually quite pleased with this film. And it's not just because of the fact that we had seen the worst film I've ever seen in my life, or at least within the past decade. This is legitimately a decent film. That said, am I going to suggest that you run out and go see it in the movie theater? Not necessarily, but you could do worse. 6.5.
I think this is going to become this year's Olympus Has Fallen. The movie that, I mean, it's by and far not a great movie, but fun to watch.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I could see that because Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah,
Same idea.
I watched it on DVD. Not great, but yeah, actually pretty good. We got to take a break. Jacob, I understand that you're going to have to leave us, unfortunately.
Yep, I'm out.
All right, dropping the mic. Jacob, we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have the chance to do this again very, very soon, if not next week.
Hopefully so.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Appreciate it. When we come back, Ryan, stick around. We've got to talk about some films that are coming out this weekend, and we've got a whole lot of movie news to talk about, but Jeff will be on deck with his review of the number 1 film of the week next.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Hey, welcome back in. Of course, we have to come back, and we're going to do this not just this break, but coming up after the next break, we're going to kind of break from what we usually do and giving you music off of a soundtrack from this particular week. We're going to go back to Harold Ramis, and we'll be honoring his life here in just a couple minutes. Of course, Holiday Road, National Lampoon's Vacation. just a hilarious film. Up to number 1 here, as we have spent a long time just dragging Pompeii through the mud. That brings us to number 1, $31.3 million. The Lego movie just is a monster. $183 million, done that in 3 weeks. We have all, except for Josh, reviewed it. Most of us, except for David, liked it. And
I liked it.
Brings us... You did not.
I did, too. I gave it like a 5. I gave the original Thor a 5. That's liking.
And then he stands out in the parking lot and rips it before we come onto the show.
Well, sure.
I actually like it. So far, for me, this is the number 1 film of the year. But then again, it's very, very early. We'll have to see where things go. Jeff finally got to go see it, and you had the chance to see it kind of through the eyes of your nephews.
I did.
And?
We all loved it.
Yeah?
Man, what a good time. Just a good time. Funny. I mean, if you haven't seen it, and by now I'm sure most people have.
Probably.
If not, what are you waiting on?
Really? It's not like we got a whole lot. As he stares straight
I mean, what are you
at
waiting
Josh.
on if you haven't seen it?
I don't know why. I had like a bunch of friends that said, let's go see it together. And every time I say like, okay, I want to go see it, they're like, well, let's watch RoboCop, or oh, let's watch,
Next time somebody says that, you tell them that we have said this is a much better film than that.
I know. I want to go with friends because it looks like one of those movies you're just going to laugh your butt off the whole time.
I think it's important that we, not jump on Josh for not seeing this movie. We all know that he's a Lincoln Log enthusiast. This has got to hurt.
This is true.
Playmobil, actually.
Erector set.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's something for everybody. Grown-ups are going to love some of the stuff that are going to be way above the kids' heads, and the kids. We took our 3 nephews, and it was on last Friday night or last Saturday night, and it was packed with families, with kids. None of them. There were no distractions. It was, I've never had a theater experience in a family film with a bunch of kids. There was no fidgeting once it got going. No, none of my nephews had to go to the bathroom. There wasn't a dry seat in the house.
Well, and here's the thing. It was the way that they edited it, it was very fast paced, and it just kept you engaged the entire time. There really wasn't hardly any slowdown whatsoever.
Absolutely. And I'm really big, I do a lot of reading of movie sites and things online. There were so many, or not so many, but there were a few things I had no idea were coming that just killed as far as, the jokes that came and some special appearances by some characters I wasn't expecting that cracked me up. So yeah, I give this one a solid 9.5.
Yeah, it was well put together.
I see what you did there.
I mean, they've already greenlit a sequel, and this is something they can really build on. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much. What's the score that this thing is getting, Rotten Tomatoes wise? Have you seen it?
96%.
I heard audiences.
Not really
I heard audiences didn't have a hard time connecting with the characters.
All right, stop. We're done with the puns. It's over. Good grief.
I'm sorry.
Let's go see Lego. That was terrible.
Lego my Lego?
We should really block Josh from being on the show.
Ryan, you care to jump in on this?
Let's ban him for a couple more weeks. Put him on double secret probation.
Yeah, really. Coming out this weekend, Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues. This is not the same Anchorman 2: The Legend Continues that you might have seen back in December. This is actually a re-editing of the film because apparently they had so many outtakes of it they could have made 2 or 3. So they've decided to go with a second one. But yeah, we'll have to see how well this performs here, and we'll see. That said, we've got Anchorman news coming up. Stick around for that. Non-stop, Liam Neeson, Julianne Moore, filmed about a U.S. air marshal on a flight from New York to London, begins to get text messages about a killer on board, which sounds like 3 Days to Kill and Passenger 57 and Born and Die Hard and several other movies all wrapped up into one, which kind of makes me actually want to go see it, just to see how much of a mashup it is of all these. And then there's Son of God, starring Diogo Morgado, Roma Downey, and others. This is the edited version of the History Channel's Bible miniseries telling the story of Jesus. If you watch the miniseries, from what I understand, some new things have been brought into this. So don't just think that it is just the re-editing. There's actually some other scenes, from what I'm being told, that are being put into this. So,
I heard this was adapted from a book.
Could be.
I'm sorry. I'm going to stop.
You know what? You made that joke. I've been listening to the show for years. You made that joke when the Bible came out.
Oh, I think I said it was based off a true story.
Josh's joke greatest hits, right?
It's terrible. They're like the most on-the-nose jokes.
Just the look over there from Jeff is just amazing.
Shaking his head.
Should you be interested in trying to see something that is out in limited release, The Bagman, Robert De Niro, John Cusack, Crispin Glover. Actually, it's got several stars in it, but it's only limited release. Ernest and Celestine. This is an animated film featuring the voice work of people like Forrest Whitaker. Hairbrained, which stars Brendan Fraser and Parker Posey. Holy Ghost People. I have no idea what that is.
Golly.
Something called Lunchbox. Hey, it's Forrest Whitaker week. Repentance, starring Forrest Whitaker and Mike Epps, and a movie called Stalingrad, which is about, of course, the 1942 German attack on the Soviet city, which stars a whole bunch of Soviet-named people that I'm not even going to try and pronounce the names of.
Checked out the trailer online. This actually looks really,
Wait, what's this
really
one? What's the name of it?
It's called Stalingrad.
Wait, is that about the battle or whatever?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, the trailer to that movie, we were both sitting there like, what is this freaking movie? We were watching it because it is literally, the visuals are mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And me being the World War II historian that I am, this is a film I do want to go see.
Dude,
I don't know whether I can find it here locally, but I want to see this film.
It looks so freaking good.
Coming out next weekend, 300 Rise of an Empire and the animated Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Our good friend down at Amstar, Justin, at the theaters in Alabaster, let me know that next Thursday they're going to have a double feature. They're going to do the original 300, and they're going to start that at 5:15.
Oh, yeah.
And then debut the Rise of an Empire at 8 p.m. So you can do the double feature down at Amstar.
Sign me up.
And opening weekend, they have got all kinds of things going on both Saturday and Sunday in the lobby of the Amstar Theater in Alabaster for Peabody and Mr. Sherman.
Will people come dressed as Spartans?
The Grand Budapest Hotel, is that limited release next week?
Oh, I can't wait for that film.
I think it's limited release, if I remember looking at it correctly.
That movie looks great.
So we
Sure,
shall
that's
see
why
where it goes from here.
It shouldn't be limited release. It should not be limited
well,
release.
and it may be one of those films that starts off limited and then goes widespread.
They want basically word of mouth and all that to make it grow even more.
See, and that's what I'm kind of wondering about The Bagman. I mean, when you think about the stars, De Niro, Cusack, Crispin Glover, this may be that kind of that same strategy. So we'll have to see where it goes.
Maybe, but maybe not.
We're running late, aren't we?
Signs.
Okay. All right.
From behind the glass.
Sign language. Ryan, let's go to you as we get into movie news, okay?
Yes, sir.
Looking back at the top grossing films 2013, we noted that Iron Man 3 was the top grossing film within the calendar year. Hunger Games Catching Fire has made more money than all the other films that was released during that year. This currently sits above $423 million, and that's domestically, just here in the United States and I think Canada. I think they can put the two. Let me ask this question, Ryan. Where does that compare in the all-time list?
Well, the all-time list, as far as the domestic gross is concerned, The Hunger Games Catching Fire lands in the number 10th spot with $423.6 million.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This has outmade the first Hunger Games movie. This has made more money.
Yes, it has, yeah.
It deserved it.
Question is can they beat that with Mockingjay?
Are you kidding me? With Philip Seymour Hoffman's death, now that film's going to be so big.
Mm-hmm.
So you think it'll beat
Oh,
423?
God, it's going to crush it, man. That movie's going to... The next two movies are going to be out of control.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Jeff?
He doesn't look happy
I
about
haven't
it.
even seen Catching Fire yet.
Get on board, dude. After I watched
it comes
Catching...
out on Blu-ray like next week or something.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
comes out on March 7th.
I was so mad that like it ended there, like on Catching Fire, that I literally bought the book and read Mockingjay. I think it's Mockingjay, whatever the last one is.
It is.
That's going to be interesting.
I mean, I've read the books.
All right, well, I just on the overall opinion, not based upon what you've seen, just your overall opinion. Will Mockingjay outstrip Catching Fire?
Mockingjay Part 2 will be the highest grossing film ever made.
I agree with that.
Wow.
I'm kidding. It
could.
It's only going to keep growing.
I don't know if it's the highest,
those
but it
spots
could.
are reserved for James Cameron.
Yeah,
his hackery.
It seems
well,
to be.
I mean, if they play their cards right, they very well possibly could. I mean, it's like the thing is that this next movie, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it because the last book is just going to be a hard book to adapt into two movies.
Yeah. Ryan, so far consensus is this is going to make more money than Catching Fire. You agree?
I actually agree with that, but as far as domestic gross and highest grossing films of all time, there are two things we're forgetting here. Avengers Age of Ultron and versus Superman. Those two are the biggest threat to the number one spot of all time.
Yeah. I would say Avengers Age of Ultron is because that made $600 million last time, and they've been building up anticipation for this one. So
is Downey Jr. or Robert Downey in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this his last film?
No, he signed up for
he signed up for one more Avengers. He won't do any standalone Iron Man anymore, but he will do one more Avengers after this.
2 and 3. That's what he signed up for.
Are they going to keep the Marvel
We don't know yet.
Iron Man franchise going?
We don't know yet.
Huh.
Haven't heard. Let's see. Okay, since we've been talking about sequels, and while not the moneymaker that the first one was, Anchorman 2 was a success. Apparently enough of one, David, that they have talked about maybe a third, right?
Right.
Wrong.
Adam McKay is saying that Anchorman 3 will not happen. It's done. He says it was great to do it, and it was fun to work with those guys again, but that's it for Ron Burgundy. He goes on to say that he prefers creating new characters, and that this is the last sequel he'll ever do.
Oh, ever do. We'll have to see where that happens when he is finally done directing films, because I get the funny feeling, given enough money, he would step back into sequel.
Yeah, expect Anchorman 3 in 18 years.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
There's been good sequels made. I mean,
Sure.
all the sequels to Toy Story have been some of the best sequels ever
That's
made.
that Anchorman 2.
Not really.
Not necessarily. David, let's stick with you in another comedy. This one teaming the famed Monty Python comedy troupe with Simon Pegg, a film that is entitled Absolutely Anything. Tell us more about this.
Kate Beckinsale has signed on to play the female lead and Simon Pegg's love interest in Terry Jones' upcoming live-action CGI mismatch. Eddie
Mismatch,
Izzard,
I think is a very good word here.
Eddie Izzard and Joanna Lumley have also joined the lineup, and I don't know what I did there. But yeah, that's pretty much it anyway. It was just gonna sound you know what? It was gonna sound like the end of a sentence. That's all it was gonna be.
Hey, very good.
Hey buddy, your participle's dangling.
Yeah, it does often.
This is being written and directed by some of the guys who have been in Monty Python?
Right, like all the guys from Monty Python are actually gonna be CGI aliens. And it's
so
Terry Jones
really
is
not all
directing.
that far off from real life.
No.
Yeah. Excellent. I will say this. You mentioned mix-up? Mismatch?
Yeah.
Simon Pegg, Kate Beckinsale?
It was it was originally going to be Benedict Cumberbatch in the Simon Pegg role.
Interesting.
I will watch this because I'm a big Monty Python fan and I like Simon Pegg. I'll be interested to see how they get to the point where Kate Beckinsale actually becomes attracted to Simon Pegg.
And I have reported it on the show before, but Robin Williams is going to voice his dog. So,
yeah,
I'm going to see this.
I'm in. Ryan, let's talk about a remake of a movie that is, 25 years old or so. I'm not sure we really need it, but here it comes. Point Break. The original starred Keanu Reeves, Nick Nolte, Patrick Swayze, but they're going to remake it.
Yes, they are. They've announced that Gerard Butler is taking on the Patrick Swayze role, but in this case, Luke Bracey, who was previously in G.I. Joe Retaliation, is going to take on the Keanu Reeves role, and this is going to be directed by Eric Sinclair, who gave us the sports film known as Invincible.
I'm so excited about this.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to give me those warm feelings again.
He's anticipating a bad Rotten Tomatoes. When do they want to try and get this thing out?
They do not have a release date as of yet.
Okay.
God, how old is Keanu Reeves?
Like 58. I don't know.
Why can't they remake movies that were almost good, but like Krull? Krull could use a remake.
Krull, actually, yeah, that would actually be kind
Josh,
of fun.
Keanu Reeves cannot have an age because he can't count up to how old he is. So,
oh man, I guess if you're going to make a sequel, generally Riddick notwithstanding, you're going to have a major hit on your hands. Ryan, Lego Movie, bound to be a sequel. Jeff kind of let it out of the bag. When do we expect said sequel?
The Lego Movie 2 is going to hit theaters everywhere on May the 26th of 2017.
But we don't have any idea of a plot or anything, do we?
And we're not sure which cast members or even if the directors are returning.
As long as Batman's back, I'm in.
Not to spoil anything, but my solemn prayer is that it is a direct continuation from the very end of the first one.
You know what I will say is that it
could be fun.
I wish it was not too late to go ahead and take Ben Affleck out of the role of Batman for the Batman Superman movie and just put Will Arnett in.
Right.
I would totally watch a Will Arnett seriously playing Batman.
As long as he's back in the next Lego Movie, I'm good with that.
I'm here.
I'm a happy guy.
Keanu Reeves is 49.
All right, let's talk trailers. We've all had the chance to see many, many trailers. First of all, let me get a quick yes or no. Have we all seen the trailer to Godzilla? Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Ryan, yes. David, yes. Jeff?
Yes,
Josh?
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
we've all
sir.
seen it. Let's go around
me
the table, and Ryan, we're going to start with you. Quick thoughts on the trailer for Godzilla.
I think it looks really, really good, really great. Looks incredible. Cannot wait to see it. It hits theaters everywhere. On May the 16th of 2014, you got Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who hopefully will take this seriously, and Elizabeth Olsen. Can't wait to see it.
Jeff?
Godzilla?
Godzilla.
Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Godzilla.
I am so pumped for this movie.
That
If
tells me
it
pretty much
lives
everything I
up
need
to
The
what
hype, yeah.
the tone the trailer strikes, it's going to be incredible.
Okay.
You need to see his first movie, Monsters.
Mhm.
Based on that, I think he can actually pull this off.
Heisenberg is back. That's all I'm saying.
Good to go on it.
Let's do it.
Liking it, David?
All right. I'm generally disinterested in Godzilla, and the first few things in the trailer, the wow noise, I hate. But Bryan Cranston sold it for me, man. Cranston sold it for me.
I'll put it to you this way. I can tell you right now, just by watching the trailer, this one will be miles better than the Matthew Broderick poor effort from several years ago.
Are we still even thinking about that?
I remember it all too well.
Anything's better than that.
What are you talking about? There was no.
Hey,
yeah, been an American Godzilla movie.
By the way, if we're ignoring Rocky V, we're ignoring
should
the Matthew
ignore Rocky
Broderick
V.
Godzilla.
In the Mark Wahlberg version of Planet of the Apes.
What?
Golly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Speaking
What
of things
are you
that need to be
talking
ignored.
about?
Yeah,
God, you're
so
mystifying me.
we're all in. To the superhero section, not a whole lot really this week, but Ryan, we do have news regarding the Spider-Man franchise, third film and more. What's the news?
Yes, sir. For The Amazing Spider-Man 3, they have signed, once again, Marc Webb to come back, to return for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 to wrap up, I guess, to finish out this part of the series, anyway, with a trilogy. And Sony has also confirmed that they want to make more and more and more Spider-Man movies to the point where they want to release a Spider-Man film every single gosh darn year.
In fact, they've actually changed their name to Spider-Man.
Yes. It's no longer Sony Pictures, it's Spider-Man
no
Pictures.
longer.
That might be overkill.
Way too much overkill.
Too
Take
much
your time,
Spidey.
make the best film possible to honor the fans, which means take 2 to 3 years, Jack.
I don't want a new Spider-Man movie every 2 to 3 years.
Why?
He's just not that impressed with it.
Yeah, they've never done it right.
Well, David, let's see if you're impressed by this.
Pull your
Sandman.
jets there, Einstein. Amazing Spider-Man 2 looks like it's going to be more epic in more ways than one.
Oh, golly.
visually-
Ryan, don't buy the Kool-Aid. It looks terrible.
Visually, visually it looks good. I don't know. I think they've thrown way too much into this, but I'll go check it out. We'll see. We'll see whether David's more in on Sandman. On again, off again. Apparently been up in the air for a while. Are they making progress on this, David?
Yeah, Jack Thorne has been brought aboard to script the film based on a treatment by David S. Goyer. He hasn't written anything very high concept. His work really just includes stuff in the UK like Skins and This Is England and the film How I Live Now. So like this changes my opinion like 0%. Like I don't know the guy. I was kind of hoping they would just say it was going to be Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
So,
I would like it to be that way. We'll have to see. Guardians of the Galaxy coming up, David. How about the 80s cartoon Masters of the Universe?
yeah, they're going to bring it. Oh, and I don't say that in a positive way.
I don't either.
They're talking about directors, and they're talking about the guy who did the Karate Kid remake, Harold Zwart, and they're also considering, let's see, there's no reason for it. There's just no reason.
Are they going to
for
do
any of
this for TV too? They're going to do something with TV?
No, they're talking about movies, like doing
Just
movies.
lots of movies?
Well, just doing a franchise of movies. That's what they want to do. Like they've got 3
Never really
directors
called
they're
for a
really
Masters
looking
of the
at.
Universe movie.
I don't know any of these directors. Like none of these films look like they go along with Masters of the Universe. Pink Panther 2.
I remember the cartoon. I'm not really.
Well, there was the
Dolph Lundgren?
there was the Dolph Lundgren and Robert
Courtney
Duncan
Cox.
Robert Duncan McNeil from Voyager. was
And
in it.
what's his name? That Frank Langella was Skeletor.
Yeah, it was
The best thing about it.
Totally missed that.
It was really bad.
May have to go back and check out.
It was
just
a
for the
great villain,
cheesiness.
and everything else was crap.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Harold Ramis because he did also have some TV stuff, and quite frankly, we're out of time. So we will remember the life of one Harold Ramis and how it affects a plan for a movie that's coming out. We'll have that next.
They do all their own stunts. The Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
I'm alright. Nobody but about me. Why you got to give me a fight?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Hey, welcome back in as we get ready to remember the life of one Harold Ramis here. And, of course, I'm All Right from Caddyshack, the best golf movie of all time. Worst golf movie of all time? Caddyshack 2.
Those were the only two golf movies.
It's in the hole!
Those were the only two golf movies, except for Bagger Vance.
Bagger Vance, exactly. And Tin Cup. And Tin Cup.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Kevin Costner.
Real quick, before we remember this, David, let's go to you. We've talked about Ghostbusters 3 for probably, the better part of a year now, as we get into more detail because of Harold Ramis passing away. He played Egon in that set.
Mm-hmm.
How is his passing going to affect them doing the third installment?
Well, Sony, as I reported a few weeks ago, I think, has decided just to do a complete reboot because they can't get Bill Murray back. But they're also still considering a Ghostbusters 3, and they're saying at this point is they're talking about having Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, and it won't really affect the movie at all. Like, I'm just not down with this at all. Like,
I don't know as any of us really are. I mean, the first thing that threw me off was the fact that they couldn't get Bill Murray back.
Well, that doesn't throw me off because Bill Murray's just a jerk sometimes.
Well, he can be, but let's face it, he's funny.
And he's right.
Yeah.
Generally.
So, but between Bill Murray and now no Harold Ramis,
yeah,
if you're going to redo the film, you're going to have to reboot it, and I don't know if there's really a call for it.
Well, I don't trust Dan Aykroyd to do anything because, I mean, he's the guy that come running out of the Casper house saying, you're going to have to call somebody else. So, yeah. Who cares?
Okay.
There's not going to be good.
This thing, I think it goes back burner, by the way. And then we get to Harold Ramis himself. Ramis, the writer, director, and actor known for the roles that we just talked about, Ghostbusters, Stripes, directed films like Caddyshack, Groundhog Day, born in Chicago, began his work away into the show business with the famed Second City comedy troupe. He actually went on to be the head writer for SCTV in 1976, 1977, and kind of acted as such. He was the head writer. It's credited for some 48 episodes before he was tabbed to be a co-writer for the film that would later become National Lampoon's Animal House. He just played a little bit of a cut off of that as we came back. Then later, he went from there, co-wrote Caddyshack, co-wrote and co-starred in Stripes with Bill Murray, and that kind of began a decade-long partnership, both on and off screen with Murray, re-teamed with him for Ghostbusters and its sequel, 1984 and 1989, again, 1993 in Groundhog Day. Ramis' directorial debut was another script that he co-wrote, National Lampoon's Vacation. In all, Ramis is credited with writing or co-writing 36 projects for movies, television, and video games, acting in 23 films and TV shows, produced 15 projects, and he directed 14 separate entities. Harold Ramis passing away Monday morning from complications due to autoimmune vasculitis, a blood disease. 69 years old, and he did a lot of good stuff. Most recently, one of the last things that he was in Knocked Up. Judd Apatow directed it and said that Harold Ramis was a humongous inspiration for him, and he was so thrilled to be able to get Harold Ramis in that the one scene that he did with
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, name just went right out of my head. The one scene that he did with Seth Rogen, reportedly, Harold Ramis ad-libbed every single one of his lines.
And what's funny is, like, when you go back and look at the special edition DVD of High Fidelity, like, he's in a deleted scene as John Cusack's father, and he's basically the same character he was in Knocked Up.
I love it. It's good stuff. Not a whole lot of what?
Must have been a traveling man.
Yeah.
Blu-ray, DVD, and then we'll make the transition into television, Ryan, so stick close. Not a whole lot of stuff out on DVD, but there is the Oscar-touted 12 Years a Slave comes out on Tuesday. The remake of Old Boy, which you were initially excited about, and then all of a sudden you just said, you know what? I'm dropping this one like a hot potato, Jeff.
Everybody said it was poo.
Yeah. Do you have any urge to see this at any time whatsoever?
As soon as I can get my grubby paws on it at no cost.
For nothing? Exactly. I am intrigued by it because I do want to see how it's remade, but yeah, I haven't heard any good things about it either. And one of Paul Walker's last films, a movie called Hours. I'm not really sure I remember the film, truth be told.
I believe he plays a paramedic in that one.
I feel like these are movies that never got picked up for distribution.
In a lot of
and all of a sudden, like, some producer's in a bar somewhere wasted and hating his life, and he sees that Paul Walker dies, and he sees opportunity and releases it.
Let's get it out there.
Because a lot of these films look terrible.
I plan to be that man someday.
For TV series collectors, you might be interested in, David, Doctor Who, The Time of the Doctor. There's season 5 of the Venture Brothers. I don't even know what the heck that is or what channel it's on.
That's a wonderful, wonderful show. Oh my gosh, Steve! Like, you know the old Johnny Quest show, right?
I do.
It's basically like It's basically like what if Harold Ramis wrote Johnny Quest.
It's
amazing.
It started out as like a spoof of Johnny Quest and these old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Need to go check this out.
It has become so much more.
Yeah, but don't watch like an episode now. It's gotten so deep into continuity. You've got to go back to the.
I got to go back to the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're an NFL films kind of person and you happen to really, really celebrate the Super Bowl 48, there is the documentary from NFL Films, Super Bowl 48 champions, the Seattle Seahawks. To the TV news, and Ryan, we start with you, and actually quite a bit of NBC news. How about their faith in the show Parenthood? Ron Howard produces this, or his company produces this?
No. He's one of the executive producers.
Okay. It seems to be paying dividends. I mean, they've stuck with this. It's dealt with some fairly low ratings, but it has gotten a steady and increasing audience here over the last few years and getting critical raves. You really like the show, and apparently they're getting a character back. Number one, who? And number two, is this long-term, or is this just like a guest stint?
Well, they are bringing back the character known as Hattie, played by Sarah Ramos. She was on the first 3 seasons, then she went on to college, and then she made a brief appearance during the course of season 4. She's going to reappear at the end of this season that's airing right now, at the end of season 5. Her appearance is scheduled to be in the season finale, which has a tentative date in the month of May.
Okay. But we don't know long-term.
Right now it's just one episode, one and done kind of thing.
Gotcha. NBC apparently looking back to hopefully maybe get lightning to strike twice for those like me who were left a bit empty when Heroes took the big downturn and then was gone. What's the news about Heroes?
Yes. Out of nowhere, no one saw this coming. NBC has decided to work again with Tim Kring and bring Heroes back for a 13-episode miniseries event titled Heroes Reborn, and this limited run is set to air in the year of 2015 with all new characters and storylines to appear online in a digital series before the new series even premieres.
Now, is it in the same continuity as the original series, or is it just completely just is it alternate reality?
No, he hasn't ruled out the possibility of the former stars of the original show to return.
All right, let me ask this question. Do we know who the writers are?
I believe it's the same crew that worked with Tim Kring on the original series.
Season 1?
Yeah, that's like literally.
Yeah, let's hope.
All my friends said, "Okay," I said, "I want to get into Heroes. It's on Netflix." They're like, "Please, whatever you do, watch season 1 and then act like it never had anything else."
You watch season 1, you can watch the abbreviated season 2. It takes a slight dip in quality, but it's still good. When it came back after the writer's strike, it really started to tank.
And the thing
That's why I'm asking, is it the season 1 writers?
I watched it. I loved it so much.
Jeff is over there shaking his head. I got to know.
It just crashed.
I didn't even make it all the way through season 2 because
I made it through
were
every season.
It was so terrible.
And by the end, I literally, when it ended at that season, like it seemed like it was halfway through a plot, I was like, I don't even care. I don't even care.
And I think a lot of us were. I will watch this. When do they want to have this thing done?
In the year of 2015.
So next year at some point.
I'll watch it because I love the show.
I'll check it out, but they're going to have to make sure that this thing is quality.
Because I think
it's got to be. They got to recapture the season 1 magic. If they're going to get this thing
could have been one of the best first seasons of any television
series.
I
hope they come
ever.
together to rescue that poor Irish girl from that alternate future where Peter, our hero, left her.
Yeah, no kidding.
Seriously,
that'd be nice. Let's stick with NBC. We're going to move over to David. You've got news of another attempt at a TV series for Ashley Judd. What is she doing now?
Oh, she's been tapped to play the matriarch in Liz Heldon's NBC pilot Salvation. The drama follows a family that rallies together after the death of their father, the leader of a Texas megachurch.
Joel Osteen died? I'm sorry.
Wrong crowd, man. Wrong crowd.
I couldn't resist. That was as soon as it went megachurch, and I went megachurch, Texas. Joel Osteen.
Yeah, they're billing it as a religious drama, though. That's
a religious drama done by Hollywood.
Yeah,
I don't have a whole lot of faith in this. I just realized what I did. I did that, and I didn't even know I did that.
This is like the show of shameless puns.
Apparently, and I didn't even realize it. NBC they've had a pretty good working relationship with Matthew Perry in the past. Of course, you had the show Friends, and then you had Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Critics liked it, didn't really gain much of an audience. You had the show go on, and we know why it went. The only two lasting I think only a season each, but it hasn't stopped him, number one, from working up a remake of The Odd Couple. But David, not going to be on NBC?
Not going to be on NBC. It looks like it's going to be CBS. They've greenlit a pilot, and this thing is going to be multi-camera, which means laugh track, which means I'm out.
Yeah. When do they want this thing yet?
Next for this coming up fall.
For the fall?
Yeah.
I'll probably end up checking it out, but
made
I'm
me
not,
sad.
I'm
Multi-camera
not really
made me sad.
sure. Not all that sure. ABC and Ryan, back to you. The promise from the producers of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that they are going to get more into the Marvel world as the season goes on, but they're going to take a week off for a special about how Marvel has gotten to this point.
Yes, sir. To shake things up on ABC for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're going to put together a little documentary called Marvel Studios Assembling a Universe, and it's going to premiere on Tuesday night, March the 18th at 7 Central, only on ABC.
So they're going to give another week off to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then turn it over to this.
Yep, pretty much.
If they wanted to shake it up, they should have just made the show good.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually do it. Marvel's actually working with Netflix on some stuff that you know about, David.
Oh, yeah. They're, well, they just announced that they were going to be actually shooting in New York City for the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Defender series.
Okay.
Luke Cage.
So we'll be getting that, but it's only on Netflix. Ryan, if we have any more questions, how can we get a hold of you, sir?
Go to Facebook.com/TheRPM Show. You can also find me on Facebook at Ryan Matthews.
Are you planning on watching any films this weekend, or are you waiting?
I'm going to wait. I have too much on my plate as it is this weekend, boys.
I got you. Ryan, we appreciate it. Looking forward to talking with you 1 week from now.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on the show. You guys take care.
We'll do it. David, we can find you online where?
Yes, sir. You can find me online at maladjusted.tv for my original comedy sketches and web series.
Josh, hopefully you'll be in more often.
I will. I'll try.
Looking
Come
forward
back,
to
Josh.
it. Jeff, thank you very much. Appreciate
Come back
it.
to us.
And hope you guys have a fantastic weekend.